Today, the Environment and Public Works Committee is holding its 7th oversight meeting on the Nuclear Regulatory Commission since the earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear meltdown in Japan in March 2011. The consequences of those terrible events have prompted us to rethink how to ensure safety at the 104 nuclear reactors in the United States. Last year, the NRC created a task force to review our nation's safety requirements, and that task force made 12 recommendations to help prevent a similar disaster at nuclear facilities in the U.S. Earlier this year, the NRC sent 3 orders to nuclear plants requiring high-priority safety improvements: the acquisition and protection of emergency equipment, better monitoring of spent fuel pools, and improved venting at boiling water reactors to help maintain containment in the case of an emergency. The NRC also directed nuclear plants to take other actions, including reanalyzing earthquake and flooding risks and reassessing their ability to safely operate following such events. In addition, the Commission issued 2 notices of proposed rulemaking, one concerning steps plants should take if they lose electric power, and the other on ways to improve nuclear plants' emergency procedures. While on the one hand, I am encouraged that the NRC has begun moving forward, I also have concerns that the Commission is allowing some nuclear plants to delay implementing safety improvements beyond the recommended 5-year period. Public safety of nuclear facilities must be the NRC's top priority, and I call on this Commission to ensure that the recommended improvements are put in place within the next 5 years. And I intend to do my best on this committee to make certain that these safety upgrades are completed without delay. I also want to talk about an urgent matter in my home state of California that is extremely close to my heart. The San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station is located near San Clemente, and 8.7 million people live within 50 miles of that site. This nuclear plant, which is currently offline, has experienced unexpected deterioration with the tubes that carry radioactive water in the plant's new steam generators. This situation could pose health and safety risks because if those tubes leak or rupture, they could release radiation at levels that exceed safety standards. I'm pleased that the NRC has undertaken an investigation regarding the problems at San Onofre. Today, I want to make certain, and I will be asking all of you, I want to make certain that the Commission continues to pay serious attention to this nuclear facility. Let me be clear. It is your duty to ensure that the appropriate actions are taken to address safety concerns related to the compromised tubes before San Onofre's reactors are permitted to go back online. The San Onofre reactors must not be restarted until the NRC's investigation is completed and the public has been assured of the plant's safety. The NRC was created, and I quote, to ensure the safe use of radioactive materials while protecting people and the environment, unquote. And the millions of people who live near San Onofre deserve to have peace of mind. It is critical that the NRC conduct this investigation at San Onofre in an open and transparent way. I'm very pleased that the Commission has scheduled a public meeting in California in October. Today, I want assurances that this meeting is on track and will take place. I also want to remind the commissioners sitting here today about their commitments to me that the NRC will determine whether SoCal Edison was in full compliance with the regulations regarding the redesigned steam generators. We also need to evaluate whether the NRC regulation should be changed to avoid a similar situation in the future. I will continue to work with the NRC to ensure safety issues at San Onofre and other plants across the nation. And I do look forward to hearing from the commissioners about the progress that has been made to implement safety changes resulting from the lessons learned from Fukushima. Before turning to Ranking Member Inhofe for his opening statement, I would like to say a special welcome to Dr. Allison Macfarlane, who is testifying before this committee for the very first time as the new NRC chairman. We welcome you. And now I turn to Senator Inhofe.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Let me apologize to our 5 guests that I'll have to be leaving right after my opening statement because of a commitment that I have, but I'm very excited to see this, all 5 faces in front of us now in a spirit of collegiality that I think has been needed, and we're looking forward to working with you, and particularly Chairwoman Allison Macfarlane. I'm just very excited to have you, and of course you too, Ms. Savinicki. Right now, we've been pretty busy over the last year, and for the first time in some 30 years now, new licenses to build 2 reactors were issued by the Commission. So good things are happening. When you look at the concern people have about our ability to produce our own energy in this country, it's recognizing the fact that we have the largest recoverable reserves in coal, oil, and gas. It's something where we can see the day when we're not going to have this reliance, whether it's Hugo Chavez or the Middle East. Then, of course, nuclear has to be a part of it, and is going to be a very significant part of it, and I'm very excited to see what we're going to be doing. So between nuclear, oil, gas, coal, hydropower, and renewable, we're going to do great things. Ensuring the safe use of the nuclear energy is a very serious job, and that's why, unlike many countries, way back in the 1970s, Congress established the NRC, the Independent Commission, and charged 5 commissioners with the responsibility to protect the public health and safety. We saw what happened at Fukushima, and we are all committed to ensuring that the United States nuclear power plant will not experience a similar accident. That's why we have safeguards in place that would have prevented such a disaster here in the United States. For example, the Fukushima Nuclear Accident Independent Investigation Committee, formed by the Japanese government, reported that the Japanese plants are not required to consider a possible station blackout scenario, something the NRC instituted here in the United States way back in the 1980s. And this report concluded that, quote, the accident may have been preventable, unquote, if an order already required by the NRC following the September 11th terrorist attack on the United States was instituted in Japan. So to all the commissioners and the new chairman, I'm pleased to see what is going to be happening here. We're looking forward to great things, and we're going to continue to have, through our subcommittee, oversight hearings to be sure we stay on the schedule that we commit to. I always remember back when Republicans were majority and I chaired that nuclear subcommittee. At that time, we had not had an oversight hearing in some 5 years. And oddly enough, it was the members of the NRC that wanted oversight hearings. So we're going to be able to do that, work together, and make nuclear a very important part of our energy package. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you very much, Senator. And we will miss you. Senator Lautenberg.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Nuclear energy, critical to meeting our nation's energy needs. An emissions-free energy source, now providing 1/5 of Americans' electricity. In New Jersey, our 4 nuclear power reactors provide our state with more than half of its electricity. But as we saw with the disaster in Japan last year, there are also many reasons for caution. Excuse me. The crisis in Japan left every American concerned. Could it happen here? The Nuclear Regulatory Commission's task force studied the situation closely and determined that our nuclear facilities pose no imminent threat to the American people. And while this is reassuring news, it was also clear that we needed to do more to improve nuclear safety here. The NRC's task force issued 12 recommendations to strengthen nuclear safety, including the long-term steps to improve emergency preparedness and protect plants when earthquakes and other natural disasters occur. And since they issued these recommendations, the Commission has taken real steps to ensure our reactors are more secure. But some have raised concerns that we must do more and move more quickly. Let me be clear. When it comes to safety, we'll all agree that we cannot afford unnecessary delays. In addition to operating plants safely, the United States needs to have an effective policy, which I know that you're working on, for disposing and storing spent nuclear fuel. Right now, most nuclear power plants store more than 1,000 tons of nuclear waste in spent fuel pools on site. not a sustainable position. At New Jersey's reactors, nuclear waste is stored on site. Some of it's in dry cask storage, and some is in spent fuel pools, which rely on a steady supply of water and electricity. In Japan, when the earthquake and tsunami knocked the power out, we saw rescue workers desperately spraying water from fire hoses into the spent fuel pools. More than a year later, there's still serious concerns about the safety of spent fuel at Fukushima. One thing is clear: we got to find a better and safer way to store nuclear waste to ensure that a disaster like the one that took place in Japan never happens here. It means finding more secure ways to store fuel on site, finding agreeable places to store national spent fuel, and making certain that these sites have long-term viability. Nuclear power must be part of our energy future, but the disaster in Japan has taught us that nothing can be taken for granted where nuclear power is concerned. Japan's leaders believe that Fukushima plant was strong enough to withstand a worst-case scenario, but as we now know, it wasn't. Likewise, go back to years, Chernobyl taught us that the effects of a single nuclear accident can linger for generations. And we've got to learn from these lessons, learn from other mistakes, and I thank the commissioners. You do a good job for coming today to testify, and I'm eager to hear about the NRC's ongoing efforts. And thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you so much. And it's Senator Alexander next.
Thanks, Madam Chairman. And Madam Chairman, thank you for holding this hearing. My view is that the more the American people hear about and know about nuclear power, the more confident they will be in the system that we have. So I welcome our commissioners and I'm glad you're here. Several senators visited Germany and Sweden over the last few days, and it made me grateful that we have, as Senator Lautenberg said, 20% of our electricity produced by nuclear power and 70% of our emissions-free electricity produced by nuclear power, and it's done in historically a safe way. The reason these hearings are important is the production of energy by nuclear power has been our safest method of energy production, but it's complex. And people need to know what we're doing and understand what we're doing. The lessons I received, though, that we received in Sweden and Germany are instructive to us. Sweden, on the one hand, half their power is nuclear, half their power is hydro. So they have absolutely clean electricity, and they have cheap electricity, and they have a repository, which the communities in Sweden competed to win, and there's a picture of the mayor who won with a happy face and the mayor who lost with an unhappy face. So we could learn from Sweden. Germany, right next door, has an energy mess on its hands. I mean, they're closing their nuclear power plants. They're still buying nuclear energy from France so that they'll have enough electricity for a big industrial state. They're building coal plants, and then they're building gas plants, even though gas in Europe costs 4 or 5 times what it does here. And one reason they're building gas plants is to have electricity when the windmills don't blow, which makes you wonder, well, why do you have windmills if you're going to build gas plants? So their officials told us that if you want cheap energy, don't come to Germany. So you can go to Sweden, or you could come to the United States, where we have a mixture of energy and a pretty good energy policy, I would say, based upon the free market with regulations, environmental regulations amended to that, which are producing right now a lot of reliable, low-cost, cheap electricity and energy. And that is a great boon to job growth over the future. So your job making sure that our NRC, making sure that our 104 reactors continue to operate well and safely is important. In another hearing today, Senator Bingaman is introducing a bill to help us find a long-term repository for nuclear for used fuel. We need to do that. Senator Feinstein and I, Murkowski and Bingaman, have been working this year to do it. We've made a lot of progress. We have a little difference, the three of us do, with Senator Bingaman on one or two provisions of his legislation. But whether you're for Yucca Mountain or against Yucca Mountain, we need a new repository, because if we took all the stuff we've got today at 104 sites and put it at Yucca Mountain, it would nearly fill it up. So we need consolidation sites, especially Senator Boxer, for plants that might already be closed. We could move the fuel from there, and we need a long-term repository. So I hope this commission will continue to make that a top priority as we work together with the Congress and the administration to move ahead on parallel tracks to find consolidation sites for fuel that's spent fuel that's at our nuclear power plants and sitting there. It's safe. And the previous chairman, said it'd be safe for 100 years there. But that's not where it's supposed to be for 100 years. It's supposed to be in a long-term repository. And as I said, whether you're for or against Yucca Mountain, we need another one, and we need consolidation sites. Finally, I look forward to hearing from you in the question and answer session about your support for innovation in nuclear power. The Congress and the President are supporting small reactors. That's an important part of our ability to have plenty of reliable, clean electricity in the future in this country. And we'd like to be a leader in that area in the world, first, because it does provide jobs. But second, it simply provides another, perhaps better way to produce clean electricity that's reliable over time. And as a good citizen of the world, we have such good safety standards here that if we do a good job with small reactors, those practices will be exported in the world, like many of our practices have been for our large reactors and our nuclear reactors on our Navy ships. So I welcome this, and I thank the chairman very much for the hearing, and I hope we continue to have them regularly.
Thank you so much, Senator, and that would be my intention. And now we're going to hear from Senator Carper.
Thanks, Madam Chair. And to our commissioners, welcome. It's, I don't say I see broad smiles here before us today, Madam Chairman, but I'd say it's a couple of, it was like a friendlier, happier group than I recall gathered before us in the past. So we welcome that as well. I want to express our thanks to our new chairman, Chairman Macfarlane, who I believe was sworn into office in July, and to congratulate Commissioner Savinicki, who I believe was sworn into her second term. Was that in July as well? Okay, thank you. Well, good. Congratulations to both of you, and thanks for your willingness to take on this responsibility and your willingness, Ms. Savinicki, to extend your stay on this commission's important work, as you know. Currently, our company has somehow 104 nuclear power plants operating in, I think, about 31 states, with an additional 5 that are under construction and will come online, I hope, sometime in the next several years. Collectively, as others have said, these 104 nuclear power plants provide about roughly 20% of the energy that we use in this country. And I think, as maybe Senator Lautenberg was implying, and some others have said, that energy comes with some special benefits. 1, no carbon dioxide emissions. 2, no sulfur dioxide emissions. 3, no mercury emissions. That's good. That is really good. We need to keep that in mind. But the energy from all those plants has helped to curb our nation's reliance on dirtier fossil fuels, and has helped reduce our air pollution that damages health and causes global warming. We're especially mindful of that. Senator Lautenberg and I are, and Senator Cardin, as downwind states from all that pollution that's put up in the Midwest and just blows our way and fouls our airs. And there's frankly not a lot we can do just by our own about it. But nuclear energy helps relieve that. But despite the benefits of nuclear power, we've seen from the crisis at the Japanese Fukushima Daiichi district facility, the damage that nuclear power can cause if not properly regulated. Safety must always be our top priority when it comes to nuclear energy, and that is why Fukushima accident and before this committee has exercised its oversight repeatedly. Senator Inhofe has suggested to ensure that our nation's nuclear power plants are prepared for the worst. We want to make sure that our nuclear power plants can respond effectively in any crisis to protect the American public. I was reassured when the NRC concluded that an accident like Fukushima is unlikely to happen in the United States and that our nuclear fleet poses no imminent risk to public safety. This is due in part to the diligence of the NRC to public safety, but as my colleagues have heard me say over and over and over and over again, if it isn't perfect, make it better. And since our hearing last March, the NRC has required the implementation of several safety actions at our nuclear power plants in light of the lessons learned from Fukushima. And the NRC has also required our nuclear power plants to investigate and report back ways we can further enhance flood and earthquake protection at our 104 reactors. Today we look forward to hearing an update from the NRC commissioners regarding their practice and their progress. I sincerely hope that the Commission will continue to have a dialogue with key stakeholders and seek public input from all sides of these issues at the recommendations that are being implemented. However, I'd be very disappointed if by the second anniversary of the Fukushima accident, which would be, I believe, March 11th, 2013, our nuclear power plants are not where they are supposed to be according to the schedule the Commission has laid out. As I continue to support the pursuit of all clean energy, my top priority for our domestic nuclear power industry remains public safety. We all know that we can do better, and that is a responsibility that this committee shares with you. The NRC is moving forward to ensure that the U.S. nuclear industry continues to improve its safety and preparedness efforts, and part of our job, is to make sure that that happens. Thank you, Madam Chair, and again, welcome.
Thank you. I'm going to call on Senator Barrasso. Before I do, I wanted to apologize. It was so very warm in here, and we've had issues this morning with cooling the room. So without having a commission meeting, I opened up all the doors, and I think it's feeling better. There must be a message in that, but we'll figure it out later. Senator Barrasso, you're on.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and I would also like to thank and welcome all the commissioners here today. According to the Department of Energy, nuclear power provided about 19% of total U.S. utility scale electricity last year. Department of Energy projects that America needs 40 to 50 large nuclear power plants to be built and start operating within the next 20 years for nuclear power to maintain or increase its share of the U.S. electricity supply. The fact is we need to maintain and improve our nuclear industry. The only way we can do that is to promote responsible policies and regulations that protect public safety while maintaining nuclear's share of our electricity output. We need to make America's nuclear reactors as safe as we can, as feasibly as we can, while growing this important energy source. After the nuclear disaster at Fukushima, the American people want to know that nuclear safety is improved. The American people want us to ensure that there will not be a repeat of such a disaster in Japan here in the United States. That communities across America are safe from harm, that the Nuclear Regulatory Commission is tasked with protecting us, and it is not a responsibility I know that any of you are taking lightly. The incident at Fukushima has led to a process at NRC of developing recommendations to improve nuclear safety here in the United States. The Commission has decided upon those recommendations that are most significant and has established a path that leads to timely implementation. Now it's incumbent upon the Commission to ensure that those who must implement those recommendations are able to do so without impeding the growth of much-needed nuclear power. A good step towards that goal is that the Commission appears to be regaining some measure of collegiality and strength lost during the reign of the previous chairman. As many of you know, the President's former chairman resigned under fire. As a result, the Commission must now improve the process of permitting and licensing of nuclear power plants, a process the former chairman slowed down by so frequently disagreeing with the bipartisan majority of commissioners. Having turned the page with new leadership, the Commission must stick to its convictions so that the so-called Tier 1 recommendations be properly implemented. The Commission should not be distracted by the desires of some who wish to drive the resolution of all recommendations to suit an artificially established deadline. This collegial process needs to continue to be restored as the Commission returns to its traditional independent and respected role. NRC must operate within procedures that are agreed upon in a professional and collegial manner. Doing so will ensure that Americans know they will be protected from harm while having their energy needs met well into the future. Again, thank you, Madam Chairman. I look forward to the testimony.